Welcome back to our 20-foot by 20-foot shed project using SketchUp for Schools. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the windows, and we're going to create a set of windows that we can copy over to our other two window locations. So this is going to be the end result of our window. So that's going to be the inside, and if we scroll over here to the outside, that's what's going to look for the outside. In order to create these windows, we're going to use the tape measure. We're going to use arrays in order to quickly put our lines out evenly. We're going to use the offset tool, and we're going to use the follow me tool. So that's what we're going to work with. We're going to start off by going in and taking a look at the follow me tool. So I'm going to hide my windows. Come over here to one of the windows. It doesn't really matter which one. We're going to copy them over to all the others. I'm starting over here with this window right here. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we lock our wall group. So if I right click on my wall, I'm going to go down to where it says lock. Once you do that, it's going to turn the outline, instead of blue, it's going to turn red. Over here in our outline panel, you'll see that it kind of grays out the walls a little bit. I can't hide or anything with the wall group right now because it's locked. In order for me to edit it in any way, I have to come in here, right click, and actually go to unlock. I can't erase it. I can't do anything because it's locked. And so we're doing that because we're going to draw in the shape that we're going to use to follow me all the way around. So zoom in to our little corner here. Once we've locked our wall group, take your tape measure, and we're going to go from the inside corner outwards 0.5, enter. We're then going to click on the outside edge, hover over that guide so that our line is along the red axis. What's red for me, if you did any others, it might have been green. But I'm also going to type in 0.5, hit enter, and we're going to go and do this side as well. Make sure that it is along the red axis, type in 0.5, hit enter. Now what we're going to do is go from this guide, hover over that line so that my line is along the green axis. We're going to type in 3.75, actually just 3.5, and hit enter. So we got our guides. Again, this was 3.5 inches. All the rest of them were set off at 1/2 inch. Now you're going to take your rectangle tool, and we're going to connect all of the dots. So make a rectangle there. I'm going to make a rectangle right there, and make a rectangle on this side. Select your eraser tool, which is the keyboard shortcut of E. Erase our two little lines. This is one of the reasons why we lock the wall group, so that way we can erase these two lines without it bothering the wall. Next, I'm going to go ahead and erase my guides because I don't need them anymore. I'm going to take my selection tool, click once on our shape. Because we erased our two lines, everything should select. That's what you need to have happen. If it doesn't, it means you missed a line somewhere in there. Make sure you erase that line so that way we click once and the whole entire thing selects. Select your M key for your move tool. Hover over that corner. Move up. If you need to, you can hit the up arrow key in order to make sure that it aligns to the blue axis. Drag it up partial way. It doesn't matter exactly where. We just want it off the corner. So whenever we're doing the window with the follow me tool, you have to have it somewheres in the middle of your side. Whenever we're doing the door, we will actually start down here at the very bottom. And you'll kind of see why once we do the follow me tool. So we have our shape that we are going to use to go all the way around, but we don't have the actual line. So the way the follow me tool works is that the follow me tool takes a shape and it goes and it follows a path that we make. So I want there to be a path that goes all the way around this window opening. So I'm going to take my rectangle tool, go from the upper left, draw a box down to the lower right. That's going to enclose it because everything else is a group. I'm going to take my selection tool, which is the spacebar button. I'm going to click on the center of my rectangle just once so that just the center is selected, not the outside edges. So I do not want that right there. I just want the center. So click once, hit delete. If you want to know that you did it correctly, I'm going to unlock my wall group, and I'm actually going to hide the wall group and deselect it, and this is what you should have now. So we have that outside line of where the rectangle was, and we have our little shape that we created. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take, with your selection tool, you're going to click on our little line. You're going to hold down shift. I like to hold down shift because it adds the plus and minus. A lot of times with these lines, it's really easy to click on the stuff that's back behind it. For example, in this case, the foundation. So if you do that by mistake, just click again and it will deselect it. But I'm going to go through here and click on, or try to click on all these little lines. Make sure I click on all of them, even this little bottom one. Make sure you don't have anything else selected. Again, we're holding on shift while we click. Once you have all of those, it's probably going to mess up, but we want this tool right here, follow me. So unfortunately with SketchUp for Schools, because we clicked on another tool, you'll need to make sure that you click on the follow me tool. I tend to forget. So click on, find the follow me tool, click on it, or make sure that it is visible first instead of using the push pull tool. Go through here and reselect our lines. Select that follow me tool, zoom in, click on the shape, and there we have our trim for our window. Basically what it does is we selected all of the lines. We then clicked on the follow me tool and we clicked on the shape that we want to follow along that. That is roughly how the follow me tool works. There's a lot other things that you can do with it. You don't even have to have the shape on the line, but we will practice all of that in another series. For this series, we're basically going to be using the follow me tool in order to draw in all the trim for our windows and doors. For the inside of the window, what we're going to do is take our tape measure, which is the letter T key. We're going to zoom in. We're going to find the center point of our window. We're then going to go to each side of that line, 0.25. Hit enter, go to the other side, 0.25. Take your rectangle tool and connect the dots from one side to the other using your mouse keys and your keyboard. Once you have that, take your push-pull tool, click on it, and drag it all the way up. Hover over that top edge and click. so that you have this result. I'm going to go ahead and erase my guides. And now what we're going to do is create the window panes. So for the window panes, I want it to be all nice and even. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw a little line along that edge. Take my selection tool and I'm going to click on that little line. Select my move tool. Click on the endpoint. Move it. Hit Control to make a copy of that little line. Drag it over here to the right. Put it in this corner. Then, before I do anything else, hit the forward button or / button and 5. Then hit Enter. If you need to see that again, we're going to do this other side. So take your line tool again, draw in a short line. You can hit Escape if you need to deselect it. Select your selection tool, click on that little line. You'll see it kind of turns blue a little bit. Select your move tool, hover over the corner, move it. Hit Control to make a copy. Move up to the very top. Place it in that top corner. Hit forward button, / button, and 5, and hit Enter. We will have that as the result. Next, we're going to select the line tool again, which is the L key. And we want to actually continue these lines all the way across, making sure that they are either red or green depending on, or blue depending on which ones you're doing. If you ever mess up, just hit Escape. You can deselect it or Control Z in order to step backwards to redraw your lines. So make sure you move your mouse around to make sure that everything looks like it should. Now what we're going to do is take the offset tool. So find the offset tool, which is behind the push-pull tool or the follow me tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to click once. So click once where we can you can still move it. We're going to make a rectangle that is smaller by 0.25. Hit Enter. Now, with SketchUp, once we use the offset tool or the push-pull tool once, if we want to duplicate that, all we have to do is double click. So because I made a 0.5 smaller rectangle using an offset tool, if I double click without moving my mouse, then a lot of times it will duplicate that offset tool. Sometimes it'll do that right there. So just do Control Z and manually type in 0.25, and there we go. If we double click after that, most time it will redo it. Mess up, just do Control Z, type in 0.25, enter, and we're going to continue going through here, double clicking on each one of these rectangles. Every once in a while they will mess up, but for the most part it helps speed up your process when it comes to repetitive things like this. So now we have all of those. Take your eraser tool and we're going to erase all of our center lines. And again, I'm using my keyboard, the mouse for the orbit and the shift button in order to pan my project around. So that way I can zoom in and out and move really quickly around my project. So now you have this right here, which is where we are at. Now that we have this side created, we want to do the same thing for this side. But we don't need to actually go through here and go through the same process as this side because we've already made it. So what we can do is take your push-pull tool, and we actually want to create a new starting face. So if you look down the very bottom, it says Control equals toggle create new starting face. So I actually want to hit Control. It's going to come up with that little plus sign. Click on the little piece of face that's in between our little panels. Click on it. Move it to the other side. We're going to type in one, enter. And we want to pull this out 0.5. So this is what we should have. So this is setting off 1/2 inch, and this is setting off 1/2 inch. We can come in here with the eraser tool, and we do have these little lines that we can come in here and we can erase. Next, click on our paint bucket tool. It's going to come up as your materials panel is going to pop open. It's going to pop open here in the in model. This is all of the materials that are in your model. If we click over here in browse, these are all of the different textures and colors that come inside SketchUp. So we got patterns, metals, roofing materials, stones, synthetic surfaces, tiles, etc. We want to go to glass and mirrors. And we want to click on this little texture right here. If you click on it, move it up, this is our translucent glass gray. So select that, and then we're going to click on all of our window panes. Whenever we do this first side, you'll see that it's just kind of like turns everything gray. However, when we go to the other side and start doing these, then it comes up with, and we can actually see through our model. So coming through here, I want to delete my little guide or my little lines really quickly. So once we have that, we are done with our window. We're going to right click or triple click on our window itself. Right click. We're going to make this a component. Type in window. Click OK. Let's unlock our wall itself. For these right here, it's a little bit of, it's hard to copy these windows over because we don't know exactly where it sits over here. So if we measure this, it's 3.5 inches, but we also brought it out a 1/2 inch. So if we come over here and make a guide that is 3 inches from our window and then 3 inches down from our window. If we select our move tool, hover, select our window, click the move tool, move it from this corner, hit our control key, bring it over and move it to this corner, everything should line up with where it needs to go. Let's go ahead and move this one over here to this other side. I want to hover over our window and rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to take my tape measure again, do my 3-inch guide. And move it from here to there. If you rotate it correctly, it should line up just like that. Let's erase our guides. I'm going to click on one window, hold down Shift, click on all 3 of them over here in my outliner panel, right click, and I'm going to turn those into a group. Right click that, rename it, type in Windows, hit enter, and now I have all 3 of my windows. Let's save our progress, go through here and take multiple screenshots, one showing all 3 of your windows, and then I also want one that is close up so that way I can see these 2 windows up close. If you did everything correctly, your dimensions should be that right there. So that is our windows. We're going to do very similar thing for our door, but that will be our next episode. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes in this tutorial playlist.